Alright, what is up everybody? I am back to talk about Rayman Legends Retold once again. It's not going to be really anything too new, it's just a few things that I found that I wanted to talk about in a video form. So starting off with this first one, it's pretty small so I thought I'd get it out the way right now. So one of the biggest things that was getting talked about leading up to the announcement for this game was the possibility of AI being used. And it all stems from this piece of key art from the game. The person that leaked this image said that they AI upscaled the image just so it could be a little bit easier to look at, but as a result it caused a lot of people to think that the entire thing was AI generated. And I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people. I was one of the people that thought this was AI, especially when you look off to the right and you see Batilla the fairy just looking really realistic for whatever reason, which is why in my reaction video when I saw that the key art was actually real, I was a little bit like 50-50 if you couldn't tell. But in this interview, a few people on the art team decided to talk about the game, but right here at the bottom it says we don't use AI in this project. Our goal is to approach it through the eye of an artist so everybody can get involved in the process. Which, thank God, because you know, when it comes to the people that at least work on the Rayman series, they know how to make these games visually pleasing to look at. So them using AI would just feel so out of left field. And I'm so glad that they just came out and said it right then and there, we're not using generative AI at all for this game, and they're working hard to make it look as visually stunning as it possibly can be. Alright, so moving on to the next thing, I'd figured we would talk about the brand new renders for the characters. All credit goes to VN and Herd because this is where I'm getting the renders from, and taking a look at them, I think these are all pretty solid. Rayman is one of the more standout ones here, and I think he looks really good for the most part. I know for some people they're not the biggest fan of the separated eyes. Personally, I don't mind it. The only thing I do hope is that he's still pretty expressive. Like the way Rayman looked in the Phantom show was like the ideal way I would want Rayman to look moving forward, just with how expressive he was with his model in that game. And obviously that can still be the case here. We haven't gotten too many cutscenes with Rayman, but that's honestly only my big concern. Other than that, I think Rayman looks perfectly good here. Glowbox looks pretty much on par with how he looked beforehand. The only big difference here is that you can see his purple tongue has been replaced with a regular red one, and that his body is a little bit more detailed. Grand Minimus and the rest of the teensies are going to have a slightly different look. One of the big things that you can see from this render is that he actually has detailed teeth. I saw some mixed opinions on this, and if I'm being completely honest, I actually don't mind it that much. And in my opinion, what I think is the best glow up by far, it's gotta go to Barbara. Now granted, there was nothing wrong with how Barbara looked in Rayman Legends, but there was always just something with her original design in that game that just never really stuck with me. There's nothing inherently bad with her design, but there's just something about it that just never made me pick her. But seeing her here and how expressive she is in the trailers, it genuinely makes me excited to see more of her in game. Now I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, I did see some people complain that her breasts for some reason are just smaller in this new game, especially when compared to that one E3 trailer back in 2013 I think. Now look, I get it, I like breasts as much as the next guy, and I mean they're still there, you can still see them in a couple of shots in the trailer, they're just not as pronounced as beforehand. Moving on to the last thing for this video, I wanted to talk about this world map and some of the interesting things that are on it. I know it's going to be hard to see some of these locations, so I'm going to try my best to make them look as visible as possible. So one of the things that caught my eye was that the locations from Rayman Origins are actually on this map. So from what we can see that there's Mystic Peak, Gibberish Jungle, Desert of Didgeridoos, and the Sea of Serendipity, with the only location that seems to be left out is Gourmet Land. We also have the Cave of Bad Dreams from Rayman 2, but what really caught my eye was this one location off to the right, in which the map labels it the Rabbids landing site. Now this is cool for two reasons, alright? First one being that Rayman and the Rabbids have kind of been re-established thanks to Mario plus Rabbids and the Sparks of Hope. And while I don't think the two games are canon, but given how Rayman reacted when he first saw those two characters, I forgot their name unfortunately, it's pretty clear that he's still not all that cool with the Rabbids up until that point. But the second thing of note is that the Rabbids were potentially going to appear in the original game. In case some of you guys don't know, there was this leaked trailer back when Rayman Legends was still in development, and in the trailer they put this Rabbid figure on the Wii U gamepad, and then we get some brief gameplay footage of Rayman being in a level with a bunch of Rabbids around him. Now, of course, this was not in the original game, but this makes me wonder if they're possibly gonna revisit that idea and implement it into Retold. I personally don't think it would be that bad of an idea, and as mentioned before, while I don't think the Phantom Show DLC is canon, that little scene where Rayman is afraid at first when he first sees the Rabbids, it would make a whole lot more sense if the idea is that he just had to deal with them in Rayman Legends. But yeah, with that, that's basically the end of the video. Just a small little update video that I wanted to make in the time being. Of course, if we get anything new, I will update you guys and let you guys know. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see y'all next time.